We have Dr. Shyam Vashudev Rao, just now joined. He is a panelist. Please welcome him. Thank you, Professor Rudrapratap. But he did not mention that he also gives training to the employees from industry. Recently, he gave a training for 70 people from HCL. Now there are requests from Applied Materials. So that is the other angle of SENSE department. Yes, this is what we heard from a few faculty members from a few departments in the institute. Yes, Professor Raghunandan mentioned already about the other industry interaction, what we have in the institute through Center for Scientific and Industrial Consultancy and also Society for Innovation and Development. A large number of industries give R&D projects, come for consultancy with faculty members, and the students are involved in these projects. When we had a project with General Motors, they even offered, including Boeing, not only the projects to the faculty members, they floated the idea of GM fellows, Boeing fellows. So we have a different category of the people also who directly get into this industry interaction. SID, which is Innovation Center, which is the adjacent building. It's also an entrepreneurship building where they have encouraged the incubation centers. And today many more things have happened. And you will be surprised to know the involvement of Bosch Center, which has come in a very big way to identify those faculty members and students who work along with them for the benefit of the society. I have Dr. Sri Guha from Bosch Center, and I would like to request him to say something about the center, why they came here, what they expected, what they got, and what is their future vision. Dr. Guha.
Thank you, Professor Mohan, for having me over here for the panelist. I think I am really very convinced that IISc is a premier institution where they can help the industry in the current challenges that the industry is facing, and we are a major consumer of what IISc is able to give. One of the things, I will come to the Cyber Physical Center in a little bit, but what we have done is we have hired a few people, I think offered few MEs from IISc, plus we have 1 or 2 students doing their PhD here. But most important, we are taking consultancy from the professors here. What we find is we know what the problems are, and we have the capability to implement, but the in-depth knowledge that IISc brings to the table is what we lack, and we really want to thank IISc for giving us the opportunity to come and then discuss with the professors and take their support and help in trying to solve the problems. To me, one of the things that we want to actually look at is Bosch is one of the companies that is growing pretty well. When I joined Bosch about 15-16 years ago, the number was roughly around 200 to 250. The current number is about 12,000. And so within 15 years we have grown reasonably well, and we seem to be growing. But what we found was when we first started, we had the extended bench concept where the counterparts in Germany, the head office would tell us exactly what to do, and we were doing it. And I think over a period of time we've shown them that we can do much more than what the extended bench model was giving us the opportunity to do. And once you start doing it, you find that you don't have all the things that you need to solve the problems that are facing us, the challenges that are facing us. So we need the technical expertise that is in the academia, and one of the academia that we are very very much using in the current scenario is IISc, because we believe they have the best in the industry. It doesn't matter whether you are here or in US or any other country. I think they have the best faculty here, and more more important, they are very, very approachable. And I think I would like to thank them for that, because I have personally come here and then approached a few professors, and they are always open and willing to listen to our problems and give us really concrete ideas as to what do we need to do to make things happen. And that is really very much appreciated. One of the things that Professor Mohan had talked about is the Cyber Physical Center, which is a charitable grant from Bosch Foundation. I don't know whether you are aware, Bosch is a company that is held by a trust, and people who own the stocks don't have a say in how the company is run, and people who run the company don't have stocks in it. So it's a strange kind of a company, but more important, most of the profits that are made by the company go into charitable institutions. So one of the things that we did was said we will take up and give money to academic institutions. So for celebrating the 125th year of Bosch, we decided to give something like a grant of, I could be wrong, something like 23 million euros over a period of 10 years. And the interesting thing is, whatever comes out of this grant is totally the sole property of IISc. It has got nothing to do with Bosch. So if patents come out of it, it is totally IISc's property. It is not that it is our property. So this is a new way of doing it. The reason we wanted to do it was to make sure that this facility can not only be used by the students and researchers, but also by other industry partners who can come in and do it and not get worried about will this go into Bosch and will they get a piece of the action. It has got no implications at all in that direction. So I want to make sure this is very clear. But most important, I think we are actually working on some really cutting edge topics in this cyber physical systems. Professor Ashokan is leading this particular center, and I am really very happy because we had the opportunity to get an update on what kind of projects they are actually executing. To that extent, we are involved. We don't tell them, hey, why are you doing this project? Not that sort of thing, but at least we would like to know how the money is being spent. The other caveat, this is a strange kind of a rule that we have put in. They need to utilize the funds. And the other thing is, they have to become self-sufficient by generating revenue out of the patents that they deliver or generate over a period of maybe 5 to 10 years. So the key really is people can go in and start doing research projects in this area, and I think over a period of time we are asking for, or the Cyber Physical Center is asking for research proposals, not just from the students but also from the industry. And I would like to say, both for students as well as the industry, please utilize the facilities. And I think that's about what I had to say. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Guha. It was in 2001 I took charge of the SID Innovation Center as its chief executive and started interacting with industry. But it was my predecessor, Professor Kincha, who introduced the entrepreneurship amongst the faculty members in Indian Institute of Science. You have seen Professor Vijay Chandru as the chief guest in the morning and his success. We have now his partner, Professor Swami Manohar. So, Professor Manohar, Vijay Chandru, and 2 more colleagues, all from CSA department, they thought of this entrepreneurial activity, started Picopita, Simputer, and many other things. I know personally the ups and downs they face, the great with which they moved on, and today how successful they are. We especially invited Professor Swami Manohar to not only tell about the ups and downs very briefly, but also about how the students could be motivated to become entrepreneurs like those people. Professor Manohar.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to be here as always. And thanks very much for the opportunity to be here with you. A little bit about what Professor Mohan alluded. I was a faculty starting in 1990. I was a student earlier in the Electrical Engineering Department, 82 to 84. 90 to 97, 99, we were doing traditional faculty kind of work, research, teaching, guiding students, consulting, doing R&D projects in schemes with the government-funded agencies, R&D projects with industry, and so on. At some point, we realized that when we were working with a computer, that these existing mechanisms were not broad enough to meet the expectations that we had to make an impact. And at that point, entrepreneurship was not a possibility in the IISc or anywhere else in India. With a gentle nudge from Mr. Ratan Tata, President of the court, and extensive support by the director, SID, and other faculty, we were able to put together the first faculty entrepreneurship initiative in India, and out of which we started Picopita Computers and Strand Life Sciences. The important part to note is, like what my friend RP mentioned, the existing rules can always be an excuse for not doing something. But if you really want to do something, you don't on the side break rules. Either you create rules or you modify rules and do what you originally intended to do. And this is precisely what we were able to do, because IISc is an environment that enables this. You can do whatever you want, provided you want it badly enough. And with the entrepreneurship initiative being set up, that triggered similar activities across all IITs and all campuses. And wherever you now see an incubation center and an institution, you should realize that all of this started in 99, 2000, 2001 at IISc. As a student, by the way, how many of you are current students of IISc? Oh, wow, very good. How many of you are about to finish? Okay, how many of you are the first year at IISc? Glad to know this. Because I think I was a little concerned when I heard that there's some worries about placement at IISc. I said, what? We are the Indian Institute of Science. Students of IISc should not be concerned about placement. I mean, that's the last thing that should be on your mind. We need to, at IISc, change things a little bit more. This placement, companies come to campuses to hire students who are just graduating. I would strongly recommend that students start interacting with the companies as soon as they join IISc. It has benefits for both. From the student point of view, you take time to interact with industry, find out what's going on, what is this industry, what's happening, what kind of problems are being solved, and how can I update my knowledge to meet or exceed what the industry expects. So you need this 2, 3, 4 years time, the time that you spend in the institute, to be doing your coursework with smartness that you have. That shouldn't take all of your bandwidth. You should have enough bandwidth to go out, interact with industry. From the industry point of view, it's not the right thing to come at the end and say, let me hire the brightest and best, use a one-day placement, one exam, and so on. You are not getting to know the students. The better way is to catch them when they come into the institute, get them interested in what you are doing, and incidentally, you don't have to pay for them. You get all this energy and effort free of cost. 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, depending on what kind of student he or she is. That involvement, like what Umapathy, or I don't forget who's that, RP, come live with us. That engagement, if you have right from the beginning of the student's life here, it benefits both. And at the end, you, a student, should have multiple options. And the industry should have multiple students that they know very well about. And we should get rid of this last month placement exercises of lectures followed by, that's for other colleges, not for the Indian Institute of Science. The other point I want to mention is the ecosystem in Bangalore. We are the Indian Institute of Science, and we are in Bangalore, the happening place. Every technology, every domain of interest, there is action out there. And startup ecosystem in Bangalore is completely different from what it was 10, 11 years ago when we were starting out. Today there is so much energy, so much of support available for startups that as a technology expert, I assume all students of the institute are going to be those. you need to at least know what's happening in the startup system. And I don't see too many students of IISc in all these entrepreneurship meetings. Maybe if you are there, if you see me, say hi to let me know that you are there. But I see students from many colleges coming in, interacting, trying to talk about how do they start up. They start up. The boldness with which youngsters today start ventures is astounding and very encouraging. And I would like to see students of the institute to use the fantastic intellectual base that is available in the institute across disciplines, science and engineering and management. All of this is available in one campus. And most companies succeed with this kind of interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary fertilization. And you have this as a first-year student of a PhD, you have 4 or 5 years on this campus. Imagine you could have an almost full-fledged company ready to go when you finish your PhD. Of course, it may digress you from completing the PhD and your advisor may get mad at you, but co-opt him as the advisor. Get his experience and knowledge to feed into what you're trying to build. And fundamentally, don't think small of getting a job, getting my CTC of X lakhs. You are talking about a 40-year, 50-year career out there. Think about changing the world. How am I going to change the world with this fantastic opportunity that has been given to me as a student of this institute? I would really urge you to think about it, and thanks very much.
Thank you, Dr. Manohar. I'm glad that Dr. Manohar suggested that the students should go from first year onwards to industry and then explore the possibilities rather than worrying about the placement at the end of their completion of the degree. Yes, that's what you have done today. That's what you are going to do every year. And this is a suggestion which is very well taken. Yes, as mentioned, Professor Manohar was a student, he was a faculty member, now he's a big entrepreneur. We have one more student from IISc who went to Philips, then he started his own startup company, and he's doing great. Dr. Shyam Vashudev Rao, I'm glad that he joined just in time. And he was the only one who was given permission to meet Mrs. Clinton to make a presentation on his startup company, Trinetra is the product. And he says, it's all the same ICT that is already existing. Innovation is putting them together for the common man. So, Dr. Shyam, please.
So, good evening. I think you had a long day and quite interesting day. Yes, I was an entrepreneur when I joined IISc. That was maybe in 90s, and then I started a small company just here out of passion, and I made the world's first antivirus card, and we made a company called Knoxware at that time. And once I started to earn some revenues out of that, like the Bosch thing, I said, okay, let me not, make another one. Let me go to IISc and do my PhD. And that's how I got into IISc. And later on, the company closed. There is always, the technology changes which keeps happening. And in small companies, we always have this problem of technology obsolescence. Nevertheless, after that, I worked for Ericsson, and then I worked for Philips. 20 years later, I decided, now I have to do something on my own. It's enough. Let me start my own company. And then in 2010, I got out and started 2 companies. One at the IISc incubator at SID called MIMO Wireless, and the other one called Forus Health. So both these companies, they are today doing quite well, I should say. We graduated from SID. We have an office outside SID now on BEL Road. We have around 35 people employed with us in MIMO Wireless, and more than 60% of them are from IISc. So that way it's a fantastic thing, we could get the real cream, and they are the ones, who passionately feel binded that they feel that this is a IISc company, and then we are all still together. It's already three and a half years. once this was started, and there is still a lot of things to do, but we are already sustainable in that company. The other company which I started was in the area of healthcare, and that is what is called Forus Health. I think some of you might have gone and seen the stall and the equipment what I have made. It's a very, very simple equipment. I just took a webcam and put some lens in front of it and made a camera which can basically do a lot of things. And this is something which has given us a lot of insights into this healthcare. Today, healthcare is a big industry. It's a booming industry. In India or in all the developing countries, only 10% of the need has been met. There is 90% of the population which is not getting the needed health care. So there is a lot of opportunity, I would say, and of course there are a lot of challenges. The big challenge what we see in healthcare is it is highly multidisciplinary, and that is where we see that place like IISc is very ideal, and the people here, you have access to maybe cell biology guys and image processing people, biochemistry, whatever you want. Everything is available in one campus. And that is something, we should look at how we can tap into this and make such companies. So just 3 months ago, I started one more company called Renalex. This is again a company which works on chronic kidney disease. And there again we see it's a very huge opportunity, and there are of course a lot more challenges, even mechatronics come into picture. So